Так, место. Ага, отлично.
Can you hear me well? Is it the time to begin? Okay, looks like it's time. Good morning, dear friends. First of all, I would like to address both to the audience and to our dear colleagues and leaders of special economic areas of Russia, or shall I say, free economy zones of Tajikistan, Armenia, Uzbekistan, who are watching us through video broadcasting. Today, dear friends, we will talk about the subject. It says sustainable development model. Sustainable development model with preferential areas. Areas of priority. Dear friends, I propose the following mode. It's a kind of workshop on introduction of the model, as exemplified by Bashkortostan. But before we tell you about the methods of our work, let's talk about stages. How the indexes came to be, what are the goals of sustainable development, why they were introduced, and what would the result be. Let me start with the presentation.
Сейчас, уважаемые друзья, я пытаюсь настроиться на рабочий лад и переключить презентацию.
Let's see.
Не переключается. Уважаемые коллеги, если кто-то мне поможет, будет замечательно.
Dear friends, I need some help.
Кто-то на
Please.
режиссерском пульте.
Sorry for the delay.
Кнопочку и как-то она.
I need some assistance here.
Пока можно попросить, да. Итак, уважаемые друзья.
So, dear friends.
Я пока разбираюсь с вот и уже началась.
Okay, my presentation is on. Let's start with the following. Today, even in the audience, I see the representatives of industrial parks, special economic areas. So today, a preferential area is not something unique. Have a look at the slide. Today, there are more than 25,000 platforms, frameworks with preferential mode. And it's growing. It's growing every day. It means the following. It means that competition between the areas, between the frameworks, is growing. Also, international experts already understood, and it was declared at the level of UN, in the United Nations organization, that preferential areas are it's the most efficient tool to attract international investment. And the areas are growing. They compete. Of course, all of you are trying to make your framework most attractive for investment among the competitors. There are certain win factors, factors of success. Okay. There are certain success factors. How to win. They show whether a platform, a framework is successful or not. In our country, we have 204 industrial parks, 45 special economic areas, and 73 industrial parks. Speaking about our areas, all of the managers of the areas, they want to make sure their area is most attractive for investment. The factors of success, there are 5 of them. Number 1 is preferential mode, development of infrastructure inside the area. Number 3, your own skillful team. Number 4, regulations helping to cut costs, and some control modes. But there are global challenges which the areas face. Industrial parks, technology parks, any area, it may face international challenges. Anyone who attracts investment faces 3 main challenges. Number 1, these are the imperatives of sustainable development. Number 2 is the modification of value-added chain, and number 3 is Industrial Revolution 4.0. Now I'm approaching the main subject. Today, I would like you and me to see how sustainable development faces existing challenges and why all this. Next slide, please. I think the next one. Yes, let's talk about this in more detail. Dear friends, there is a global challenge. It's called sustainable development. The prerequisites, let's go back to 2015. The General Assembly of United Nations, all the states, including Russian Federation, and also Armenia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, our colleagues from Belarus, represented by their leaders, they sign a document saying that they take up the responsibility to achieve sustainable development goals. There are, now please be with me now, this is important. There are 17 of them, 17 goals. We will talk about them in more detail later. And there are quite a lot of tasks to be resolved to achieve those goals, that mission. The document which was signed, which I mentioned, all the leaders of the countries, it had not only requirements, but some tasks, some goals. For example, it said that those international goals which are set, you need somehow to control, maybe to measure. You need to measure the goals. At the global level, the indexes, the parameters were defined. Russian Federation adapted those indexes, and Russian Federation came up with its own indexes defining, characterizing, demonstrating the achievement of sustainable development goals. By the way, look at the slide, please. For many of you, I think this is something new. So these are the Sustainable Development Goals, which were adopted in 2015 by the United Nations. All those states, they promised that they will achieve them by either financial monetary assets or non-monetary methods. All the sustainable development goals are divided into groups or components, which are called ESG: environment, social, and governance. This is the term, I think you come across this term quite often. It is not some It is not just cumulative term with 3 letters. I repeat, environment, social, and governance, ESG. By the way, for our colleagues and for you, dear friends, in Russian Federation, we have an alternative term, a different. There is ESG, but lately a new term came to be. It is called EKG. Economy, personnel, and government, EPG. One of the mechanisms to increase attractiveness of investment attractiveness of a preferential area, of a special economic area or technopark or industrial park, is the introduction of a model aimed at achievement of sustainable development goals. So those of you who have joined, I just showed my colleagues that in 2015 those goals were adopted, and they are decomposed by components which are called ESG. Next slide, please. I have already mentioned before that we have goals to measure them, whether they are achieved or not. Global indexes were adopted. Behind my back, you can see. In 2018, a system of global indexes of sustainable development achievement status came to be. And in 2019, Russian Federation adopted its own parameters characterizing achievement of sustainable development goals. And in our country, see, we have 17 goals, as I said. In order to achieve them, you have to resolve 169 tasks. But to understand whether we are progressing or not, there are 231 indexes showing the success status, whether we're successful or not. And now the most interesting thing, the most crucial one. Dear colleagues, online and offline from Belarus, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Armenia, I'm sure there is some... Let me explain. The leaders of the states, they took up the duty to achieve sustainable development goals. Can you please bring back the screen with the goals, with the squares? Have a look, everyone, please. For example, environment, goal. Cost-efficient energy, preserving sea ecosystems, marine ecosystems, land ecosystems, clean water, sustainable cities, vicinities, production, responsible manufacturing. These are the global indexes. And just think for a while. Leaders of the states, they adopted, they said, we will fulfill this goal. We will help to tackle the problem of climate change. And what does it have to do with us? Why industrial parks, and what is the involvement of industrial parks and special economic areas? I think you have heard in the media, on the radio, TV, I think you've heard that our banks are developing programs aimed at cutting on the percentage rate if a company has high ESG rating. In Russia, we are adopting a lot of documents stimulating attraction of investment into the projects aimed at sustainable development goals. And Russia is not alone. This happens in the whole world. Let's think, let's understand that in order to achieve the goals, if you are attaining that, if the state tries to stimulate and the flow of assets, of capital, those companies which are trying to attain the Sustainable Development Goals, they might enjoy discounted taxes, more favorable conditions. This we have to understand. So, now, please recall, we have a lot of areas in Russia. The establishment of industrial park, a special area, it's nothing unique. It's not a condition. It doesn't guarantee that you will, the fact that you establish a special area doesn't mean that you automatically receive the investment. UNTAC conference developed a model aimed at achievement of Sustainable Development Goals. If large-scale companies, enterprises, you may go to Aeroflot webpage, Russian Railroads, AFK Sistema company. They already have sections where they report if they achieved Sustainable Development Goals or not, why they do that. They already declare, understanding that banks and international investors, they are looking at them. And if they have high rating, the rating is determined by some agencies. If the rating is high, for those companies, it's easier to attract loans, to put shares in the stock market. Let's go back to technology parks and special areas. There is a certain implementation model. May I have one of the previous slides? Yes, this one. Dear colleagues, this is the key slide. We should understand this. What is a sustainable development achievement model? It consists of three components. There is a territory of a certain industrial park, free economic zone. What does it mean when you implement the model? Number one part of the model is a residence policy. Who you invite to your territory as a residence. This may mean that you invite a company with high ESG rating, or you're inviting a company which use only alternative green energy, or you may invite a company that implements environmental projects. So, this doesn't mean that the list is full. You may come up with your own condition, with your own requirement for the candidates. Let's say this year, you're saying everyone is welcome. Next year, you may say not less than one candidate possessing a technology, environmental technology, environmental protection technology. First part of the model is some residence policy. It's a kind of eligibility criteria for the candidates. Block number 2 is called non-financial reporting. And number 3 is a roadmap on the promotion of Sustainable Development Goals outside your area. So 3, number 1, eligibility, non-financial reporting, and promotion. Promotion policy outside your territory, your area. The most bulky, the biggest, is non-financial reports. Or, as you can see in the side, ESG implementation standards and transparent non-financial reports. Your reports have to be transparent. It consists of sub-sections. Number 1, I will soon give the floor to my colleague, who will talk about indexes, how they were calculated. But for now, let me say the following. ESG, non-financial reporting. Here is how it works. Let's say someone, John Doe, has to do an audit. There are 73 indexes there. I will explain them a little bit later. And see what the given framework, how a certain area is characterized based on those criteria. By the way, the Ministry of Economy of Russia already recommended for special economic areas. So number one is audit. Number two, once you complete the audit, you need to prepare a document called Report about Achievement of Sustainable Development Goals. It's a yearly document. And the next document, imagine you have indexes. Some indexes. It means you can get together, you can discuss, you can have some strategic sessions and discuss how to achieve them. This document is called Sustainable Development Strategy. So I would like to finalize. What is a model for infrastructural areas, industrial parks, technology parks? So model consists of three: eligibility, non-financial reports including audit, sustainable development goals achievement, and strategy, how to achieve sustainable development goals. And number three is a roadmap, promotion roadmap of the ideas outside your area. Now, I would like to thank my colleagues. We have colleagues from Armenia and other countries. I would like to thank Bashkortostan. Why? I would like to say that about a year ago, we agreed with the head of the region, with Mr. Radi Khabirov, that Bashkortostan will be a pilot region, a test region on the implementation of ESG model or sustainable development model inside its special areas. And we made a work group which included the representative of the Association of Technological Clusters, academics, Regional Standardization and Metrology and Testing Center, and Plekhanov University. So what did the experts do? Members of the work group, dear friends, also our colleagues who are listening to us online, they made a very important work. If you remember, I said in the beginning that in Russian Federation we came up with our own indexes which characterize Sustainable Development Goals achievement status. So there are more than 300 of those. What will the work do? They decomposed the activity of the management company of the technopark. It doesn't matter where I am, in Armenia, Tajikistan, Bashkortostan, any other region of Russian Federation. The activity of a management company of a technopark or special economic area, it's more or less the same in all the regions. The group decomposed, they described what the management company, for example, property management, lease or rent, rendering services, consultations, and so on and so forth. All of you are professionals here, you know all this. So they decomposed the activity of management company, what actually they do. And then going item by item, they did expert work. They assessed the impact, which sustainable development goals the management company has an impact on. Please Please, I will explain once again. This is important to understand, because later you will ask, why are you pushing us to implement this model? So, a management company manages the framework, construction, rent, lease, consulting, and so on and so forth. A group of experts takes a certain area and they see which sustainable development goal this service helps to achieve. And it turned out that a management company of a special economic area influences 77 indexes. We will talk about them in more detail. But an expert group, when they began to go deeper, they decrease the amount of those indexes, and then those indexes were assessed by two groups of experts from the State Duma. Number one is a group on the assessment of special area groups. Number two, technoparks and industrial parks. The experts reviewed, approved them, and the State Duma of Russian Federation, it further transferred those indexes to the Ministry of Economic Development. Now I'm talking about special economic areas. The Ministry of Economic Development of Russia, which supervises the special economic areas, they reviewed those indexes, and about half a year ago, those indexes, they were further imposed in the regions with an offer, with a proposal to implement this model among special economic areas. Let's go further. Next slide, please. So here is what I would like to highlight once again.
So, as I said, there are three blocks. So the middle block is named non-official reporting, and for this we'll need to do the audit. And the audit is made from 73, 77 aspects. So audit from these aspects are made, and from this information the final reports are made, and then the strategy is made as well. And after that, from making this information, we make the strategy. And in front of you, you can see the slide. What you can see. So I want you, my friends and colleagues, want you to understand that the sustainable model development is not something academical, but this is something real, and this is a methodology that the state implemented and adopted. There are a lot of consulting companies that developed a lot of methodology to assess the sustainable development models. For example, there are a lot of standards in the world. For example, in Europe, we have standards with its own methodology for sustainable development model. For example, SASP, GRI, and etc. And Russian companies, by the way, just before our own methodology occurred, we used international methodology. So basically, you can see the very, very basic form of that methodology, and so the basic methodology that were implemented in Russia were taken from Europe. Next slide, please. So probably I'm going too fast and too forward, and I will repeat some things, but you can see a special method, special approaches that were recommended for implementing special economic areas. Today, my friends, I'm so proud to tell you that leading platforms as Technopolis Moskva, Special Economic Area St. Petersburg, Special Zone Alga, and Industrial Park Ufimsky, these are ideal platforms where the model, the Sustainable Development Model, was implemented successfully. Now we're going to demonstrate not only words, but in practice, what we have done and what we are going to do. Please remember, this is the model. What do you mean by implementing the model? It means to solve three questions. Residential policy. The second, transparent reporting, which includes audit, spreading information on non-financial reporting, and preparing the report for 1 year. And the third is a strategy of implementing Sustainable Development Model by 2030. And the last part is spreading this model outside your platform. Please, next slide. So I have just explained to you what the model is and how it is implemented. And in fact, that was kind of a know-how, and that was something new for us. New for us to understand what model is actually itself. Do I have enough time? So what I want to say, first of all, when the pilot model of sustainable development was implemented, we still didn't understand how we will calculate the indexes. And I'm so grateful for, I'm really grateful to the colleagues from Bashkortostan that they could adopt the approaches alongside with the companies. Dear friends and colleagues here and from the online translation, do you remember that I mentioned 3 factors of success? So one of the factors is for the platform to succeed, the platform should be controlled, self-controlled. In Russian Federation, we have 2 instruments that implement the control of the efficiency. For special economic areas, this is accounting efficiency assessment. This is, for example, an annual navigator for special economic areas, where we included very important index, which can help, which shows for influencers which platform or framework is more attractive. And for this index, we included three challenges. The first of all, imperatives. Number 2, how the valued cost is included. And now we have considered the model that is characterized by the investment, it is important, by the investment. So basically, this model helps to assess the ECG as the most suitable for the model. So please, colleagues, let's start considering our experience, the practice. So I have told you the theory, basically. What is the model? Where it come from? And let's look at the pilot models, basically. How we can physically see how it works. Because we should understand, these methods will be implemented in many regions of our country. And we should understand also that the indexes can be changed, but the idea will be the same. So, my friends, let's look at our experience, at the practice. And let's look how the structure of the company works, how the indexes are depending on the company. And so the Republic of Bashkortostan is the pilot one, so let's have a look.
Greetings, dear colleagues. Just the presentation will be on shortly. Sorry for a delay. Meanwhile, in the beginning, I've mentioned that I will communicate both offline and online. Right now, in our workshop, we have leaders of special economic areas of Russia, Armenia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Belarus. And I would like to address my colleagues. What we show today, it's absolutely identical and typical of any framework, because this model is not a masterpiece of Russian Federation, but this model was created based on the recommendation of UNCTAD, International Conference on Trade and Attracting Investment. And now it has been implemented in pilot mode in Bashkortostan. I know that very soon, just these days, Moscow will announce that this model was implemented. And to tell you the truth, I understand that these areas, these platforms, will be leaders in terms of attraction of investment. Do we have the presentation? So, let's begin. So, a case study of Alga, special economic area. We will show you how to implement the model, ESG model. We will see how special economic area Alga and Ufimsky industry park already have on their web pages already have non-reporting, non-financial reports which we talked about. They will be on the screen shortly. Meanwhile, so introduction of a model. How could we visualize it? All you need to do, go to a web page of special economic area and see if they have a special section if they have a tab, ESG or sustainable development. So yes, now we have the. Thank you, Andrei. So this is the web page of ALGA, Industrial Production Special Development Area, and here you can see the ESG data, which Andrei mentioned. ALGA Special Economic Area is a pioneer in Russian Federation, which made its non-financial reports transparent. Let's go item by item. So here is the ALGA ESG data in 2021. Yes, sorry for interrupting. So that the colleagues could understand the philosophy. So, yes, you see a section, Sustainable Development, from a web page of ALGA. I think colleagues understand that now those rating agencies which I mentioned, those companies which estimate the status of achievement of sustainable development goals, now they can understand if a special economic area tries to attain those indexes. Here is what the meaning is. Indexes, it's a start page, a home page, which should be changing in time based on the goals which we defined in 2015. Yes, absolutely right, Andrei. You can track progress in time, and this has to be annual. Let's have a look at Ufimsky Industrial Park. So here is the web page. There is a special section called ESG and Sustainable Development, and you can see the ESG data for 2021. Here. So it's a similar report. Let's go back to the presentation and let's go and study each of the indexes in detail. Let's take ALGA as an example. Special economic area. So we have three sections. ESG, environment, social, governance. So the first 8 out of 17 belong to environment. So let's discuss them in detail. Number 1. This is the environment block, and each goal, it is shown which goal corresponds to which goal as part of sustainable development. So here is the match given. So here is the index, a sustainable development goals which the index influences, which it has an impact on. And here you can see the value which the area achieved. Here in environment, we have recirculation, recycled use of water, efficiency of water use, sanitary and hygienic means, treated effluent water, and cutting on waste. So the methods you can see here. Next slide. Other environment indexes. Here we have waste, reuse of waste, restoration, treated waste, hazardous waste, and the pollutants of the atmosphere, if they were somehow made unhazardous, sanitary state of the atmospheric air, power consumption, electric power consumption, and whether the hazardous waste was deactivated or not. Then the use of clear, reusable electric power, water energy, nuclear energy, energy efficiency, production of energy using reusable sources on the territory of the infrastructural facility, capacity of power generated from reusable green sources, the length of automobile roads, access roads. Let's continue. And environment will also have preservation and rational use, lean manufacturing, biological diversity and ecosystems. These are the expenses of the special economic area dedicated to the use of biologic diversity on the infrastructural platform. And also one more is the final one. Our expert from open sources, they can find information about accidents, some disputable, some hazard to the pollutions to the atmosphere, which were made by the company. Now social. It includes 10 out of 17 Sustainable Development Goals. They are a bit different, but they sometimes match. Some of the goals belong to environment, some of the social, some to government, but some usually belong to 2 or 3. For example, goal number 17 belongs both to environment, social, and government. So here is the social block. These are better understood, more familiar for you. The share of females in management of the company, which belongs to 5, gender equality. Also, number 2 is the level of employment with children, school age, and professional development and requalification of women who are in maternity leave, education, professional development of the company, in mean amount of academic hours for education, and the expenses which the company bear for the professional development of its personnel. So this is given as exemplified by ALGA, Special Economic Area, wages and some benefits in the total amount of revenue of the company against social. Number 27 belongs to number 8, is also gender proportion and drain of people with disabilities, how many of them employed, average wage, and mean salary of the company in comparison with the average salary, mean salary in the region. They should match. Social, educational ESG programs for employees and for the community. These are the companies which the company implements throughout the year, and for the community also. How they promote ESG values among the companies. So they had 6, as we can see in the right-hand table, expenses for health care and occupational safety, cleanliness and workplace injuries, expenses for physical culture and sports. These are the expenses which the company bear for some physical education events, corporate health programs, road accidents on the territory. Luckily, there were none of those. So you can see that there was 0 of them. Then let's continue. Social again. We have sanitary state of potable water, drinking water, smoking, tobacco use, following sanitary hygienic rules. If there were any cases of not following sanitary hygienic rules, luckily there was 0 in 2021. Then percentage of laborers with collective labor, the amount of ATM machines on the territory of the premises, equipment for low mobile groups of population friendly, and the final block of social management, social management, and occupational safety management, and also expenses of the company on the preservation of cultural and natural heritage, greeneries on the territory of the infrastructural framework. And the last index is the experts could find or not find information in open sources about accidents and injuries which resulted in social damage. Luckily, there was none of those in 2021 in Alga special economic area. So you can see 0. Yes, sorry for interrupting, I have a comment. So I understand that you can see a lot of numbers, and as a rule, usually it might be a bit dull, you might be tired, but I just want you to understand there are more than 70 indexes. You can see that those indexes, they influence the Sustainable Development Goals achievement. Daria already mentioned 2 components, environment and social. And as exemplified by Bashkortostan, she showed that such indexes as the area of greeneries, trees and bushes and grass, how many people use tobacco, how many people smoke on the payroll. There are a lot of those, but you see those indexes, as soon as we write them down, the special economic area or free economic areas, they will have to adopt strategies aimed at improvement of the given indexes. This is the cream. This is the most important thing you should understand from our workshop. So please, I understand that numbers are hard to perceive, maybe, but once you understand it, it will be easier. Thank you very much, Andrei, for your comment. It's very helpful. Yes, as of now, we see the indexes for 2021. We need to write a report for Sustainable Development 2021. A management company of a special economic area develops a report, and already based on the given data received in 2021, we build a strategy for the management company how to achieve sustainable development goals. And then we can see how to conduct strategic sessions. So first thing you need to do, you need to write down the indexes, the values for each index. So let's talk about governance. Governance block includes higher education, vocational education of the staff, personnel, economy, profit, added value, clean added value, pure added value, taxes, and other payments to the budget, to the government, which the management company bears. Then a very interesting index, green investment. These are the expenses of the management company, the main goals of which is to prevent degradation of the environment in the form of pollution or hazards, etc. These are expenses the company bears to avoid them. Charity, social projects, which the management company implements. Also, we have 2 indexes which characterize the residents, not the management company. The number of patents and preserved results of intellectual work, and also a number of intellectual activity, also a share of local procurement. By local we mean Russian, but for Alga and Ufimsky Industrial Park, we could look local regional procurers. And a great number, 83% of procurement was done from the vendors from Republic of Bashkortostan. And 100% of purchases of materials and services were done from Russian companies. Also, environmental requirements for the contractors and suppliers, and also availability of auditing system for how to audit contractors and vendors. Also, board of directors, the amount of meetings of the board of directors, attendance ratio of the board of directors by the members of the board. Then we also looked at the amount of females among the members of the board of directors, and also age of the members of the board of directors, under 30, 30 plus, under 40, and so on and so forth. Over 50 also years old, and also the amount of fines paid or due based on the instructions. Here we can see anti-corruption policy, average number of hours of education, how to prevent corruption, and also management system to fight, to tackle bribes, to avoid bribes. Also investment in projects on renewable energy and other management system, event sustainability management, risk management, and the last index is, as of now, we have 70, as you can see, as part of our standard. The last one is the number of incidents, doubtful situations, which resulted in reputational damage, damage to the reputation of the management company. Also, in open sources, you can find the relevant information. So, dear colleagues,
so the indexes, we can see these, the amount of the index is 70. So they have worked out all of them. So we have asked the information on reporting, on accounting. Also, the visual checkup was made, and the work with the open resources were made. And on the basis of that work, they were made an audit, and we have demonstrated to you this non-financial report that can be the start, the launch of the work of the special economic areas, as if ALGA and the company now understands, now the state understands that the company can show the progress among the 70 indexes, and the expert society will assess if there is any progress on these indexes or not, and if there are, so the platform, so the company will have an increased ESG rating, and that is good. So this is the first part of a huge block that we can call non-official, transparent non-official reports. We can say that they are good or bad. This is the start. This is the point where we can start, where we can see the dynamic of the development of the company by 2030. We can a little bit hurry up. Next slide, please. So on the example of some indexes, we can show you the strategy for sustainable development model. So we have several sessions on these three criteria: social, ecology, and state. And this is the most important is the quality of the papers, of the documents. Then the existence of managerial structure. The third is the modern informative and technological decisions, the transparent information on the websites, and the existence of strategy and plans for the indexes to increase. And now my colleague Elena will say some words on the ecology block, and she will explain how the work was done, how the actual information was made, and what recommendations can be helpful for the forwarding strategy. Elena. Good day, my dear colleagues. In terms of development of the strategy for sustainable development model, I was dealing with the ecology, and we have here 3 indexes. The first is the efficiency of the energy. I would like to show you how specifically was the strategy developed, what aspects we should include, and what recommendations we can give you. So this is specifically the access to the drinking water. So look at the column, the actual state. So there you can see, so from the start, we have already have the structural basis. В ведомстве данной структуры еще не имеется вопросов об устойчивом развитии. So there is some data that was collected already for this state in the company, but there was no information, there is no strategy for this sustainable development model. So we have already made the index and the idea basically for this new index, for this new column, but we have not made this for now. So in a special economic area company, we have very developed technologies that we used. So special lights, elevators, warming up equipments. And depending on this, we can say that we have already done the aspect from the technical point of view. So please pay attention that we have not done all the work because we're still implementing this and we haven't finished. Nowadays, the industrial parks, the special economic areas, they are developing, and of course, some of the indexes, are not decreasing, but they are growing. And on the one side, it's very good because new capacity is implemented, and we have more information, and we have more indexes to make better. And this is actually talking about the reputation, because the company increases its reputation because of that. Well, the third recommendation is an annual transparency of economical activities and the planning on them. So if the company makes all the recommendations, does all the recommendations by 2030, and it also have the documents, special documents, the infrastructure, and some technological decisions. So all these triangles that you see in the table, they're all colored. It means that this strategy is fulfilled by 100%. Next slide, please. Elena, I'm sorry for interrupting. Can we just limit our discussion by one index? But, as you can see, I would like just to have a talk for 1 minute. So, dear colleagues, you can see that you are demonstrated the next stage of the work, that is dealing with the quality of the work, and these are real recommendations that can be the basis of your strategy for sustainable development model. So, we have one model, we have a model, and we have 3 blocks. We showed the indexes, and then we made the audit. And you saw that we had 70 indexes, and you understand that they're not good, they're not bad, but this is the start of the assessment as your company does. And each index is analyzed, first of all, with the special assessment methods. And if you look at the table, all the indexes that Daria talked, so they are assessed with the 4 indexes So we have indexes. The indexes are developing their recommendations, and their recommendations afterwards gives you an idea for the strategy. Elena, thank you very much for your speech. So we are having actually a future work with you, and you have just showed us very specifically how do you assess the indexes. And what is important, you have answered the question is, for the question, why do we need this assessment? Thank you very much for this. So, dear colleagues, we are starting to finish our section here. I have some small conclusion for this. So the conclusion is the following. Today, so the model is formatted. We have the areas in Bashkortostan, in Moscow, in St. Petersburg. We have indexes. They have indexes. They have audit. And some recommendations were given so that for this some strategy was made. And then in the near future, any person, even journalists, the ecologist, anyone, can see the documents showing what specifically we can do for implementing this model. Afterwards, we will be able to see, we will implement the residential policy. It means that we will be able to see who we can invite for our platforms. So as I am mentioning Moscow area, Republic of Bashkortostan, it means that these platforms, these areas are best of the best. So it means that they should take kind of responsibilities to make this, pilot models the more efficient for others to show. So I would like to do the following thing. I would like everyone to exchange with the experience with each other here, just to make that maybe the friendship between the companies. As if you meet a girl and you would like to be with her, and all your thing that you do to glad her or attract yourself, you would like to finish this with with some happy end, I would say. So I would like to do the following. So I would like just one more time to say that Alga is one of the best at the moment as the pilot, which implemented and tried to start to implement the model. So now I would like to pay your attention to listen to the colleagues from Moscow and expand their experience. And then we will forward to Armenia. So I would like you to show the General Director of Technopolis Moscow, Gennady Valentinovich. Good day. I'm not sure, have you already heard us or not, that your area is considered to be the best, and your company is trying to implement the model and answer all the challenges basically that are coming to you. So you have already made some clusters, and it means that your platform can understand what platforms are the best to implement in your company. So I would like just to give the floor to you. Dear colleagues, good morning. I'm really glad to see you at this very important and global event. So I'm really glad that we have already met the colleagues from the Republic of Bashkortostan, and we will see colleagues from Armenia. So we are really glad, and we will be supportive in implementing these models. Well, all the conditions that were attained to implement the sustainable development model, they are real, they are realistic.
Добавленную стоимость, с одной стороны, как эффективность, с другой стороны, рост наших будущих резидентов или, так сказать, инвесторов на своих площадках. И поэтому мне представляется возможность предоставить информацию по Технополису Москва.
I can provide you with some data about Moskva Technopolis. It's a differentiated format. Our residents are scattered throughout Moscow city in industrial parks or the territories which are specifically structured for the investors. The investors may enjoy special conditions. And we have two main approaches which are based on the goals and legislation. We can provide investors with brownfield investors to have less less investment in capital, in permanent structures, but to invest more in equipment and technology to have more added value. And our greenfield areas are equipped with, I listened to Daria carefully and Yelena, so all those areas, when we provide land plots, they have to match with the Sustainable Development Goals in terms of environment, waste recycling, waste treatment, all those conditions which our colleagues will take up and will take into account when producing their products, because with all of our residents we signed an agreement that the products will be manufactured on the territory of Moskva Technopolis. What Andrei said, together with our colleagues from Alga, we are at the stage of when we're trying to implement the results of the audit and recommendation on sustainable development. We're trying to come up with a strategy with certain defined indexes. So the surplus in investment was more than 27% in terms of workplaces. In total, we could maybe not doubled, but we increased almost by 50%. This had become possible thanks to two main global trends. When Sergei Sobyanin, the mayor of Moscow, he exerts extra care to special economic areas. We can build facilities which we offer to our future residents and lessons. Now we are completing Rudnevo framework, almost 100,000 square meters of labs and manufacturing. What's unique is that, you know, they don't enjoy their current status. They don't stand where they are. Together with their CEO, they try to improve all the time in a sustainable manner. They are attracting new investors. Those decision makers who make decisions in terms of investment, they could embrace the second global challenge, meaning whom exactly to attract. They have a pool of industrial clusters, car building, radio electronics. Why? Because inside Moskva Technopolis they will have a project group analyzing how the chains of adding value have changed. They will contact the companies who are leaders in certain components, and they will invite them to localize and to enter Russian production chains. Let's wait a bit more, because let's see how Moskva will answer such a global challenge as Industrial Revolution 4.0. I think the following will happen. In Moskva Technopolis, they will have a digital infrastructure, high-speed internet, data storage, large-size data storages. I hope that we will hear from them very soon. So how is the connection? What's going on with our connection? Yes, looks like connection is restored. Gennady, can you hear us, or is it just a static picture?
Что? Нету связи, да? А она установится или нет? Неизвестно, да? Пробуют. Ну, уважаемые друзья, знаете, это как в жизни.
Dear friends, this is life. Remember, in the very beginning I told you, when a man meets a woman, it should end with a marriage certificate. But in real life, it doesn't happen like that. So we see that we began to get acquainted with ESG, and we should sign a cooperation agreement, but looks like life is life. So theory and practice, they not necessarily go hand in hand in real life. Let's wait a bit more. If we are not lucky to have a connection, we will understand life can be both the black and white. So there are black periods, there are white periods. Okay, Artyom, let's move on. Meanwhile, please share your experience about your framework. So I understand you were planning to address to our colleagues from Armenia, but we have recording anyway. Let's not let happiness be destroyed. Let's move on, because we have recording, and we promise that your video address, our friends from Armenia will have a chance to see it, and we will make sure you will have new friends. Greetings, colleagues. Greetings, Andrei. I would like to briefly share our experience. Alga, special economic area, why it was chosen for the implementation of sustainable development goals. It's quite young. It was established in 2020, but according in 2021, it received a status of most dynamically developing. Today, we have four separate areas, four separate facilities, and the management company has a chance to fill. Each of the facilities is dedicated to a certain industry. Today, in Alga, we have 12 residents already, with the total amount of investment. Looks like we have the connection. Gennady, can you hear us?
Успели даже переписаться. Да, Андреевич.
I will give a couple of comments.
Для того, чтобы, опять навести какое-то понимание. Итак, уважаемые друзья,
so, dear friends, connection is restored, and I very much hope that everyone is still with us. We have the CEO of Moskva, Technopolis, we have Alga. I hope that our friends and they are ready to assist, they are ready to act as partners to the economic area, special economic areas of Armenia. Please, you have the floor.
Меня было не слышно, да?
Looks like you had troubles hearing.
Что ж будешь делать, да?
Gennady, can you hear me now?
Нет, не слышно. Тогда Уважаемые друзья,
Dear
Я просто
friends,
слышал, что вы давали очень содержательный комментарий.
I just heard that you gave a very detailed comment that we should build relations from Armenia and Bashkortostan.
убежден, что те показатели, которые были отражены, они являются
And I'm
нашими
deeply
критериями
convinced that
развития.
those
Мы готовы
indexes
оказать
which were
любую
shown,
помощь
these are
и
actually our
поддержку с
criteria
тем,
of development, and we are
все
open for
технологические
cooperation.
цепочки
We can
максимального
assist,
прироста
we
и
can
развития
help.
компании были у нас в приоритете,
And those
доступности
chains
и в
are
открытом
in our
диалоге.
priority.
Вот
We're
это мы
open for
гарантируем
a
нашим
dialogue.
коллегам,
We guarantee that to our colleagues.
обстоятельно или содержательно, не знаю, как добавить правильно. Поэтому
this will be full of
все те связи,
content,
которые у нас были
all those
с
ties, all
нашими
those
партнерами
connections we
из Армении,
had
тем более
with
свободные
our
экономические
partners
зоны,
from
которые там
Armenia and
были
their
организованы.
special economic
Я
areas.
посмотрел их содержательную часть,
I
мы
just
очень
looked up
сильно
at
похожи
their
по тем
content.
промышленным кластерам,
We
которые
are
сейчас
very much
являются
similar in terms
инновационными,
of
приоритетными
industrial
и самыми
clusters, which are
ключевыми. Поэтому
priority and key
я считаю, у
ones.
нас есть цели
I
и,
think we have
наверное,
goals
такие показатели
and
для диалога и помощи и
we have
поддержки друг друга,
parameters we
консультаций.
can
Это
build our cooperation
образовательный трек. У нас
around.
вместе с
We
нашими
have an
коллегами из
educational
департамента
track together with our colleagues from the Department of Industry
инвестиционной
and
политики,
Investment
на мой взгляд, сделаны
Policy.
очень
I think we
уникальные в какой-то
made
степени,
huge progress and we
образовательные
developed
разделы по разным самым направлениям.
unique
Второй трек
programs in
это
absolutely
обмен кадровым
various
потенциалом с точки зрения
areas.
уникальности
We
тех
can
специалистов, которые
exchange
сейчас востребованы в
human
инновационных
power,
областях. Мы здесь
manpower
понимаем, всегда
in
имеем
all the
запрос от
areas.
наших
We
президентов,
usually have
арендаторов. У нас
requests from
получается, что
our
около 200
lessors,
наших действующих
from our
арендаторов,
residents,
среди которых
about
92
200
резидента.
of
То есть это
our
достаточно большой такой формат
residents.
диалога и формат
We are in
развития
dialogue, we
отраслевой
are
специфики. Так,
developing
наверное,
the
на уровне.
industry-specific. Gennady,
готовы к сотрудничеству,
we are ready for
готовы к диалогу.
cooperation.
Тот формат, который задает Андрей Викторович в рамках
And the
ассоциации, на мой
format
взгляд,
which
он
you are
носит
offering as
характер
part of the association, I think it's very well structured and it gives clear vision what we do stage by stage. As a priority, our priority is assessment of our results. What kind of results we get. If you don't mind, I would offer to exchange, to sign, frame documents, and then apply maximum effort to exchange between the leaders and managers of the management companies, exchange contacts. But I think it's important to build chains for our residents and lessors who will be able to find partnership opportunities for development, to make sure their products are demanded and the market gets new products, both in terms of import substitution. So if you don't mind, I will, since we have some connection problems, to save time, here is what I offer.
Спасибо огромное.
Thank you, Gennady.
Геннадий Валентинович, именно так мы и приступим.
That's exactly
Буквально
what we
еще
will do.
Пару выступлений,
a
именно
couple
пару
of more presentations,
презентационных по минуте, по две,
just
чтобы
1 or
вы
2 minutes,
увидели,
so
и с кем
that you could
подписываете
see
соглашение.
whom
Сейчас я хочу
you are signing the agreement with.
Это особая экономическая
I would
зона
like to give
Алга.
floor again to
Она тоже
Artyom,
представится
representing
очень кратко,
Alga,
и чтобы
very
нашим коллегам с Армении
briefly,
дать тоже
so
возможность.
that our colleagues from Armenia could speak up.
Еще раз.
Greetings, colleagues, once
Я
again.
начал рассказ про
I
особую экономическую
began-
зону, но сразу перейду к той работе, которую мы
I
проделали
think
с представителями Ассоциации кластеров и
I will
технопарков. Она
switch
действительно
to our
очень
results,
большая и масштабная.
what we
И
did
могу
with
сказать, что вот то,
technology
что особая
parks.
экономическая зона Алга, она
Alga
молодая, и она в
is
принципе
young,
только развивается и
and
привлекает резидентов.
at the stage
Чтобы
of
вы понимали,
development, it attracts
создаются такие
residents.
преференциальные зоны согласно
We are
федеральных
creating
нормативных актов. Мы все,
preferential
в принципе, в равных
areas
условиях.
under the legislation, and we are all in equal opportunities.
Немножко в региональных частях, но здесь важную роль играет
There is some
логистика.
variation in terms of of regional specifics, in terms of logistics, and so attaining the goals of sustainable development will give us an opportunity to attract residents. And we will see the dynamics, how the key indexes are achieved, and we will see how we can possibly attract them. Thank you very much, dear friends. I would like to give the floor to the director of MeGRI company, special economic area. David Karapetyan is given the floor. Can you hear us? David? Yes, greetings. Greetings, Mr. Shpilenko. I'm happy to greet you. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for this useful webinar. We prepared a presentation in the English language.
Unfortunately, we have not much time, so I'd like to just give you a very brief information.
MeGRI Free Economic Zone is the only multifunctional free economic zone in Armenia. It is located in MeGRI, bordering with Iran. MeGRI Free Economic Zone has a vocation to bridge Iran and Eurasian Economic Union. Business model doesn't exclude the possibility to involve developers or investors in creation of infrastructures, production, trade, logistic, recreational areas. MeGRI Free Economic Zone has some competitive advantages. Residents are exempt from all taxes except for the comprehensive income tax on employee salaries. About the strategic goals. We have some strategic goals, such as to promote international investments flow in southern regions of Armenia, to create attractive conditions for international capital to develop industries, border trade, logistics services, and infrastructures. MeGRI Free Economic Zones residents have some opportunities, such as...
David Andronikovich,
David, maybe you will provide us with a presentation, we will study it.
Our free economic zone was established 5 years ago, but until now we didn't have economic activities in the territory of MeGRI Free Economic Zone for many technical reasons. I am the director of Free Economic Zones since April of this year. During this period, the major problems were resolved, and we hope to start the economic activities until the end of this year. We have already the first resident company from Iran. Now we are preparing the contract to sign with them. Thank you for this webinar. I am convinced it will be...
David, can you hear me now? Maybe you will send us the presentation. We will study it. Unfortunately, we are pressed for time. And given the fact that you saw our platforms, you will have a chance to sign the agreement and to work with our residents. If you don't mind, I would like to give the floor to our next colleague so that we could, after his presentation, we could sign the contract, and then in a friendly manner, just like you people of Armenia like it, we will discuss at the table, at dinner, how to attract investment. Thank you very much, David. Thank you. Sorry, but we're pressed for time. We're looking forward to your presentation. I would like to give the floor to the director of Citronics Armenia, Special Economic Area. Armen Khachaturian is given the floor. Armen, can you hear me now? Yes, dear colleagues, apologies, instead of Armen, I will speak. Today we have the Day of Independence of Armenia. I will be happy if you could congratulate our country with this holiday, because we are going through some hard times, and it's very valuable for us. I will speak instead of Armen. Yes, please, just 1 minute, because we are pressed for time, because then we will have a lot of time. I know you personally. You are not just a charming woman, but a very highly qualified professional who has been developing special economic zones for quite a long period of time. And I think that Moskva, Technopolis, and Alga special economic area, you will meet new friends and professionals. Just, if you don't mind, just 1 minute. Since I
Единственное отличие от того, что мы посмотрели, да, вот в течение 2-дневного времени вебинара, у нас и на законодательном уровне,
So, as you can
на
understand,
управленческом уровне совершенно по-другому функционируют свободные зоны. То есть в этом плане
so as far as you understand,
будет очень
just
полезным.
in terms of state instructions, we have a little bit different regulation of that implementing of the model, but still we are having the same aids, the same goals to implement. So we're really glad to join this event, and we will be really grateful for the forwarding cooperation with other special economic areas. We would be really glad to see you here in the Republic of the Bashkortostan, especially in the specific economical zone, Alga. So I would like just to conclude our section. So I would like the General Director of Technopolis Moskva Degtyav Gennady and the specific economical areas Alga, Citronics, just sign the documents. And I would like to ask our technical experts to help to show, to demonstrate the signed documents, so that everyone will understand that in the frame of our events, everyone will have new partners, cooperation. That will help to exchange the experience, exchange their work. And so you can see our partners on the screen, and so this is a great possibility to see that we're just purely wishing a successful cooperation between you. So yes, we see Technopolis Moskva, special economic area, Alga. Thank you very much. Yes, we see the documents. Thank you very much for your performances. This is a real success for us to communicate, despite we had some communication issues. So I really hope that the friendship started, and we will have future and successful cooperation, and you will take a good experience from us. Thank you very much for this. Have a good day. Thank you.